All right, here we go. Episode 21 of our Hero Quest painting series. This is the second last video for the base set. We have the table to do next, and then we're going to be doing the expansion when it comes out. I'm excited as you are. I want to say thank you to all of our YouTube members. First, as always, you guys are amazing for all your awesome donations and helping the channel grow and everything you guys do. So thank you so much. I can't thank you guys enough. If this is your first time with the channel, or you're returning to the channel and haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. Let's go. What do you got to lose? But without further ado, let's go. The first thing we're going to do is scrape off the nasty mold lines on there. And if you need any tools or anything, check out those links below. Helps the channel just a little bit more. Next, we're going to use some black primer. I'm using my airbrush, but if you have spray paint, that's completely fine too. But I'm spraying that all over this miniature. And once that is completely dry, I'm going to be using some white primer on that top portion of our miniature as well, just to kind of give it a little bit of zenithal highlighting, create that tone between light versus dark. To start with our base colors, we're going to be using a little bit of black Templar. And we're going to be using this on the top two parts of the weapons rack. Next, for our wooden portions of our rack, I'm going to be using some Snakebite Leather. It's going to give it that nice wood look, very light colored grain wood. Next, for the shield fronts, I'm going to be using some Skelton Horde on both of the shields. Now don't be afraid if you get it into the crevices or on the metal parts. It's completely fine. We'll paint over that here in a little bit. Now I'm going to be using a series of different types of metals. Now it really doesn't matter after I got done with it. I'm like, you really can't tell. But I was trying to go with a different undertone metal for several of them. But you can just use the same one if you want. Now I'm using this on all the metal pieces to include parts of the shield, the sword, axe, spear, morning star, falling star, etc. Next, I'm just going to use this as the Iron Warriors. Now this is an optional step if you want it, but you really can't tell. It's very subtle, the differences between the different types of dark versus light metal you got for the undertones. So you can do this if you want, or you can do it all in Leadbelcher. It really doesn't matter. Now for the Granite Steel, I ended up doing this on the edges of the left shield, along with a little bit on the right hand side. But again, you can use this on any type of weapon that you want, including the axe. It doesn't really matter, just brightens it up just a little bit. Different type of silver. For the sword hilts and the ending, we're going to be using some Retributor Armour. And again, we're going to go back to that Leadbelcher, and we're going to be using this on the edge of our shield. Again, you can use this, you can use Granite Steel, you can Iron Hand Steel, you can use whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. We're going to go heading back to those contrast paints, and we're going to be using some Gore Grunta Fur on a couple of the handles. Now this does make a difference because you can see it. For another handle, I'm going to be using some Aggaros Dunes, and again, I'm just picking them randomly. It doesn't need to be anything specific. I'm just changing the hilt colors. Gives it a little bit of different color variation just to make your eye look at something differently. Next, we're going to use some Wyldwood. We're going to use this on the spear handle or haft. Next, we're going to use Gulliman Flesh, and again, it's just whatever you feel like putting it on. For our lion, we're going to be using some Balthasar Gold. Be a little careful when you're doing this, but you just want to get the raised areas only. Next, we're going to paint some Rhinox Hide onto our little monster face on our right-hand shield, just to give it a nice little base undertone. For all of our wood areas, including the ones that we hit with the contrast paint, we're going to be using some Agrax Earthshade just to give it that nice deep look. Next, we're going to be using some Nuln Oil on all of our metal pieces. And that's all we're doing for our shades, just 2 colors. Pretty easy. Next, we're going to be using some Necron Compound for our first highlight portion of this video. And like I was saying, you really don't notice the difference between the different types of metals and silvers we use. So again, you can do it, you cannot do it. It's up to you. But I really didn't notice that big of a difference. To brighten up our gold areas, we're going to be using some Liberator Gold. And for our handles, and then you can pick whatever you want. I'm just going to use 2 different types. Actually 3 different types of browns. And the first one we're going to use is Doombull Brown. For the sword hilts, I'm going to use a little Tallarn Sand. And I'm going to use for that haft of our spear a little bit of Baneblade Brown and a little bit on the handle of our, I guess you would say, Morning Star. And finally, as a last little highlight, I'm going to use some Orruk Flesh on top of our little monster man on our right shield. Now this took me about 3 to 4 coats after you let it dry, just to get that to look pretty nice there on the end. That's it. You did it. Nothing too crazy. A little bit of tedious work with all those weapons and everything on that rack, but still, it's going to look great on the table, and that's all that really matters. So I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you again for all my YouTube subscribers, all my members. You guys are absolutely amazing. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, hit that bell whenever you get a second. Leave me a comment, shoot me a picture on Instagram, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, paint on.